Hi guys, thank you very much for joining me. In this video, we're just going to look at the Shadowvault's rulebook. We're not going to be looking at any other aspects of the new Shadowvault's box, just the rulebook. If you want to have a look at the full unboxing, the full unboxing is available on my YouTube channel. I'll put a link to it in the description, or maybe even put like a little clip mark up there, up in the corner, over there, if I remember. But this is just looking at the book itself. So this is just a clip from that full video. So let's go. So taking a look at the Kill Team Shadowvault's book. I've had a quick peruse. You've got the usual stuff at the beginning where it talks all about Cassicans. It's talking all about the Necrons and their circles of the Cryptex. It also gives you a lot of bump regarding it, and it tells you all about the actual kill teams that they can do, their spec ups, their special rules. The kill team is quite nice. It's very nicely laid out, to be honest. We've even got names. I always like it when they give you some names. Kill team name background. I do like a random generator chart. I just wish to put these online. I don't understand why these are just in books. Why not just put them online? Seems very old to me. It tells you about the rules, and then of course you've got the nice little Cassican kill team. We've got 10 operatives. Other than the Cassican troop operatives, your kill team can only include one operative above each once. So for example, you've got your combat medic, your demo trooper, gunner equipped with a flamer, gunner equipped with a grenade launcher, gunner equipped with hotshot volley gun, gunner equipped with melter gun, and gunner equipped with plasma gun. According to that, you can't have more than 4 kill team gunners and Cassican sharpshooter. More than 4 kill team gunners and sharpshooter operatives combined. So they are limiting you. So if you are wanting that sniper rifle, you're not going to be able to take everybody. So you've got 4 choices when it comes to your heavy weapons. I would probably go for the sniper, hotshot volley gun. I've found out what it's called now. Hotshot volley gun and a melter gun and a plasma gun. Unfortunately, as we've seen from the building of the force, if you're wanting the demo trooper and the melter gun, you might have to get crafty with a craft knife. Right, unless you're magnetizing. So, abilities for the Cassican is that you've got a pool of elite points. Every time you fight in combat or makes a shooting attack, you can kind of spend 1 or more of your elite points to change the result of the dice, and you can add 1. I believe if you roll a 1, it's still a fail, but I don't think it mentions it in there. But to me, a 1 should just be a fail regardless. But I suppose if that's the rules, that's the rules. You've also got an example of how to modify some of your results. Just to try and make sure that you can actually get a lot of hits in. Since the Cassican are actually hitting on 4s. I'll show you that in a moment. They are hitting on 4s. They're not hitting on 3s. They're hitting on 4s in this game. Strategic ploys and tactical ploys. I always do like a good strategic and tactical ploy. We've got somewhere your safeguard is quite a good one, where your Cassican operatives, if it's in cover, you can re-roll any and all of your defense results of 1. Makes them quite sturdy. Means that they're not going to get shot up pretty much straight away. You've also got clearance sweep and elimination pattern. All of these just add to the killiness of your men. And you've even got one that's for KD. I do like that's this tactical ploy, where you add 1 to both damage characteristics of a gun butt that any is equipped with, and each time you lose a wound on a roll of a d6 of 5 up, that wound is not lost. That's definitely when you want to do that random, I'm going to charge in like a heroic bastard and just give them some shoeing. The Sergeant is pretty much a standard loadout. You do get an additional 2 elite points in each strategy phase if he's still alive. So you'll probably find that you're not chucking him in to situations straight away. The game doesn't have a points value, so you're more than likely going to go for the plasma and the power sword. I don't understand why you'd go for anything else unless you're wanting it in, combining it across the 40k. But even in 40k, I'd probably still go for a plasma gun and a power sword. Combat medic, with its combat stims, allows it to revive revive other guys. You've even got this rule called medic, which is when a friendly operative will be incapacitated while visible to and within 3 inches of the operative and not within engagement range of an enemy, so it's not within close combat. That friendly operative is not incapacitated and has 1 wound remaining. And if it were a shooting attack, any remaining attack dice are discarded. The friendly operative can perform a free dash action, but must finish the move within an inch of the operative. Subtract 1 from both operatives' APLs. So that is quite a nice little rule where you can do it once per turning point. Someone walks around the corner, gets shots within 3 inches of your medic rushes over as administering aid to give him that 1 point to make sure he's still alive. I like that. That's a thematic feel to it. I congratulate you on that one, Games Workshop. Your demo trooper has blast padding, which means that if anything's got the blast or makes a shooting attack, each operative within range of a point and roll defense dice step, you can reroll any on all of your defense dice. Against weapons with the splash is unaffected by the against blast. It's also unaffected by the splash rule. So it's pretty good. He also has to plant this melter mine because it's got proximity. So the first time an enemy operative moves within 2 inches of the operative's melter mine token, making a shooting attack against each operative within 2 inches of that token with its weapon, even if the operative is not in the kill zone. Now, a lot of people are not going to go towards that, but that is very tactical. You can use that to try and funnel people into a different corridor. You can try and shut off sections of the game map. Shutting off sections of Into the Dark is pretty good. You're also kind of forcing people to try and activate it. It's like, all right, I'll send a sacrificial lamb, but you haven't got to activate it. It's the first time it moves within a token, make a shooting attack against each operative within 2. I'm not quite sure how you're going to do each operative because that's the first time that someone moves in, but there you go. You've also got a chance of placing the actual melter mine, so you've got to make sure he's in the right position to place it, but putting it down, slapping it against a wall, a bit like on, I suppose, Transformers.
It's done. Let's move it.
But, slapping it against that wall, slapping it on the floor, you're going to make sure that you are covering that corridor. Gunners are gunners. These guys with the flamers, of course, hitting on 2s, but everyone else hitting on 4s. It does make up, the weapons are powerful. The Hotshot Las gun looks like it's coming across as a bolter with damage 3 and 4, so it's got a good damage output, but it's hitting on 4s. That's 50-50. So you are going to find yourself spending maybe quite a few of these elite points, possibly in like a turn 2 smash against your opponent. Swinging too unreliable maybe. Especially when you start getting injured, because as soon as these guys take 4 wounds, they're injured. So they're hitting on 5s. Is it going to be great? Also, if you're guarding, you're going to be hitting on 5s as well. Because it's an Overwatch. So if you're sat there guarding the corridor, you're not really going to be hitting your opponent that well. It's a 1 in 3 chance. Although if you do smack them with a melter gun, as my friend James found out the other day, melter guns hurt in this kill team. Recon Troopers, giving you some special abilities regarding initiative being rolled, or the initiative is determined from your original selection. That's quite nice, the fact that you're actually changing that across. And then, of course, you've got this Warden off specs, allowing you to stop enemies from being treated in cover. Which a lot of enemies do tend to get treated in cover and Into the Dark if you're playing it right. Sharpshooter. Now, this is probably my favourite model. This is why I'm taking one of these sharpshooters. A hotshot marksman rifle. We've got sharp shots so he can actually move and fire. And it's pretty much the same as a standard rifle. So you can imagine him when he's actually sniping. He's getting to that single knee. He's locking in that hotshot pack. Making sure that it's going to become the hit of the century. He's also got heavy and silent, so he can do it while he's actually in the operative can actually fire it while he's in a sneaky conceal mode, and it does 3 mortal wounds if you get those precious 6s. The fact that you can actually add elite points means that they're going to be quite powerful. If you've got a couple of 5s in there, I'll just add a couple of elite points to these dice. It changes what you're going to be able to do to the enemy, especially some of the more weaker forces, or even just wounding those Space Marines. Getting those Space Marines down to wounding can actually put a lot of people off just trying to get in there all the time. Standard troopers do have their own special rule called Elite Trooper. Each time he makes a shooting attack, he can spend 1 elite point for free during the shooting attack, even if you don't have any in your pool. So effectively what they're saying is each standard Kasrkin troopers are going to have a +1/+1 somewhere on their attack dice, which is nice. It's nice. It means it's balancing off the fact that a lot of them are ballistic skill 4. Make sure that one of the hits is going to hit in on a 3. Battle comms for your Vox Trooper. They can add to additional APL. So if you can, and it's just in the kill zone. You haven't even got to be on the actual battlefield. You can be in the back lines. You get a command in. You send more. You send more. You can send more orders to another one. You can even do this twice. So that is pretty nice. You know, you can actually spend both of your action point limit to make sure that 2 of your frontline troopers have got 3 APL. 3 APL is quite useful, especially when you get into the second and third turns of the game. If you've got 10 men as well, you're going to be a lot. It's going to be a lot easier for you and a lot better for you than it is with your usual Space Marines. So guys, I'm not going to go into the Kasrkin Spec Op rules. I think sometimes that needs a separate video for it, or if you're interested in it, there's going to be guys out there that's already done that. I am interested in some of the equipment. I normally don't go through equipments, but long range scope's going to be pretty cool. Adrenaline shot's going to be pretty awesome as well, where you can, once the battle when its operative is activated, you can use this ability. Until the end of it, you can ignore any and all modifiers to its APL and movement characteristics. So you are literally, if I'm injured, I'm going to give myself a shot of adrenaline. We're going to get there. You've also got this foregrip, which is a pretty good one, where it basically means that you are not worsening your ballistic skill of a hotshot lasgun. It's equipped with it as a result of performing an Overwatch action. I can see a lot of people taking that, so that you've got some troopers there that are going to be able to just shoot. They're not going to actually have that -1, so you're not going to be hitting on 5s like I've just mentioned previously. It's not going to affect you. I can see quite a few foregrips being taken. The usual grenades and frag grenades, although they have stated now in match play games you can only take one because that's them. But for me, these grenades should be completely off limit to that rule because they're not indirect. They're pretty cool. They're more like a breaching sort of style grenade. You've got a stun grenade, which can actually affect an enemy operative's APL. And you've even got decoy grenades, which can stop guard and Overwatch actions from happening within a set point. Those are nice. Those are kind of like that tactical sort of edge of someone runs up to that door. They're not being seen, but you know someone's waiting for you at the opposite side. Chuck one of those grenades in. Make sure that you've got, just throw it in there. And then, of course, they can't do any more guard actions. I do like that. That is pretty sweet. So the Necron Force has some nice little abilities, actually taking into consideration the fact that they are living metal. They are liquid terminators. At the start of their initiative step, so the start of your ready operative step of the initiative phase, every single operative can regain 2 wounds unless you're a plasmacite operative, and you regain 1. That's going to be pretty decent. If someone's actually been taken out, then they've been knocked down to sort of a wounded bit, you might actually be able to start getting back up there. If you've not then been left alone, so if you're in a pretty intense firefight, but you're left alone in a room, that operative then, over a couple of turns, is going to be able to regen and get close to its full health back, maybe. I'm not sure. It depends, of course, on how many wounds I've got. I've not gone forward. These are just me speculating. Reanimation protocols is pretty nice as well because you get to reanimate dead tokens, which is why the actual kill team is quite small compared to the other kill teams that I've come across, and has a couple of these reanimator sort of bots on there. They're just trying to make sure that you can keep reanimating and keep, well, you can't keep reanimating the same model more than once. So once you've done it, that model cannot be reanimated again during the game. But you roll a d6. On a 1 to 2, you leave the reanimation token in the kill zone. On a 3+, an operative is successfully reanimated. And you set up the reanimation token. You set the model back up again with D3 wounds remaining and the actual order that it has been given. In narrative play, operatives that are successfully reanimated are not treated as being incapacitated for the purpose of casualty tests unless they are used to incapacitate again during the battle. So effectively, they're going to have double the amount of wounds. Or not double, they'll have the standard amount of wounds plus D3. Now, if you're not careful, and these guys are, it's in the ready operative steps, I'm not quite sure which bit it's saying are you doing first, because that says ready operatives and that says ready operatives. So do you do these simultaneously? Do you do the 2 wounds first before doing the reanimation? Who knows? It would be pretty harsh if you do that first and then that one. It doesn't say that you're... It's operative. Yep. I will have to have a bit more bit more question on those particular rules. That looks a little crazy. We've got a Chromomancer. He has the living metal rules. Got about 3 wounds and a 3 up save, so he's pretty good. He's also got 3 action points. His stave has a blast ability with lethal 5+ and stun. So a lot of his weapons, a lot of the choices there, a lot of the actual weapons are incredibly naughty. Best way of putting it. They are going to be able to give you a proper headache, I think. You can select 1 death mark. As this unique action, you can select 1 death mark or immortal visible within 6 inches. That selected operative can immediately perform a free fight, Overwatch, 1 point, or... Yeah, wow. This operative cannot perform. So if you've got someone that's fighting to the death, make sure you can do that again. It's like giving an order. It's like a bit like spending your 1 action point and passing it on to somebody. It doesn't state as well that that particular unit then counts as being used. So if you've got someone that's got that nice little sight down the corridor, give that guy, someone's coming up to you, before you could use him to make sure that somebody else has done a bit of an Overwatch first, and it's a free Overwatch action. So you're kind of doing it a little out of sequence, but that's not too bad. I did forget to talk about strategic ploys and tactical ploys. Let's have a quick gander. A lot of the strategic ploys, surprisingly, are all about getting into your opponent. I mean, Relentless March, Intractable March, Undying Androids. Undying Androids is pretty good. It counts you as being in cover even if you're not in cover. Dimensional Concealment is pretty good as well. That strategic ploy can only be used once. You can change the operative's order on a death mark. So you could shoot, spend his 2nd action point, or 3rd, because I'm not quite sure how many APL they've got, to then conceal himself and stop any enemy shots from coming in. That would be pretty cool. Dimensional Translocator, where you can start shifting some of your operatives around. That's going to be quite nice, especially when it comes to tactical play. Leeching power from others. It's pretty good as well. A lot of these are very thematic, very Necron-esque. I do like them. They are really, really interesting. I think I'm going to be quite interested to play with these. Doesn't make me want to buy a 40k army. Not bothered about those guys at all. But we've got a lot of actions for this Chronomancer here. These guys is shifting time. He's wanting to make sure that his units are getting the best of what they can be. And you've got loads. Time Splinter. Select 1 inner circle operative visible within 6 till the end of it. It has an invulnerable save equal to the unit's unmodified save characteristic. Wow. And this has got 3 action points, so you could sit him in the middle of your force, just issuing special abilities. That's pretty cool. So we've got a Psychomancer as well. He's got a lot of rules. Wow. He's got 3 action point limits. You can select friendly death mark. So he's got the unique action of the command as well. So you can give extra additional orders to all of your guys. The Technomancer is also with his Staff of Light. Now, he's a close combat guy, but again, he's giving additional things. We've got Cryptech actions here. We've got Magnification Conduits. All got living metal. They've all got really a lot of unique orders. So just, if you can, try and find some way of looking at all these particular orders. I'm not going to go through them all in detail just yet. But, I mean, you've got Repairs. You've got Conjure Trauma, Nightmare Shrouds, Nano Scarab Repair Swarm. Wow. Rites of Reanimation. So friendly operatives attempt reanimation. Once in this turning point, when another will be incapacitated for the first time during the battle, if it's visible to them within. So someone could take someone out and you could use this guy to try and reanimate them straight away. Wow, that's pretty good. Apologies, guys. I'm getting this wrong. You can only have 1 of those. They're like sergeants. I'm tempted to buy more, or even see if I can work out my magnetizing game on that one, because that would actually be quite interesting to be able to use all of them at some point and keep shifting between them. So we've got with little guys that are going to be running around trying to repair a lot of your blokes with reanimation beams. That's pretty good, because if you've got the other guy that can reanimate and then you've got him that can reanimate, getting everyone back up and running. The sparks that they're generating, and of course claws, are not incredibly long-winded, but you can add APL to things like death marks. Now, I've had a quick look at death marks. I'll come to them in a minute. These guys here, these Apparentex. Apparentex, yeah, sure, Apparentex. They've all got some nice little special rules roaming around, these guys. Performs a free cryptic action. Gamed by the Cryptech. These are plasma sites, so these are only going to be getting the +1 today. They've also got fly as well, which is pretty good. They're only going to be getting the old +1 to their living metal. So a good shot is going to be able to take these guys out. So I'm guessing these little plasma sites, plasma site, accelerator, plasma site, reanimator, I think they're going to be hidden a lot of the times behind a lot of your mainline guys. 10 wounds for some of your rank and files. Some pretty good shooting weapons there. Death marks. Now, this is where it becomes a bit, it's that heavy. The fact that they're hitting on 2s, but it's a heavy weapon. And I think you've got 3 of these to build in the actual kill team. So this is going to be quite a sluggish and slow kill team. It's not going to be doing a lot of movement. Are you going to go for a Ghost? Are you going to go for a Tesla? Probably the Ghost, to be honest, because it is, to me, a hell of a lot better weapon than the Tesla. Again, are we going to be looking at the fact that these can't move and fire? I'm going to have a look at some of the equipment here, because it might be that with this equipment, you are allowed to make it a little bit lighter. We will have a look in a sec. These guys, 10 wounds apiece with the ability to reanimate. They're going to be quite awesome to be able to do, to be able to move around with. They're still group activation 1. Living metal, not many rules on these guys apart from that. It's, see, them having a 2 move and them having a 2 move means they're only going to be shifting about 4 inches in the game. It's not a lot of movement. Not a lot of movement at all, if I'm completely honest. But fingers crossed everything's going to work out all right when you're actually playing, because you are so tough. Although Gallowdark, you do need to get on those objectives pretty quick. And I think if you're versing a guard force, you might struggle. Equipment-wise, we've got some phase oculars, meaning that your death marks can perform a particular action. Each time it's operative to make a unit attack, disintegrator against an end of a roll attack. Yeah, it's not helping the fact that you can't move and fire. Hyperphase blade for immortals, they're always great. It's like 1 burnout weapon to have a 5+ lethal. They've got 4 attacks needing 3s to hit, and it's 3 and 4, so not so bad. You might be able to wound some Space Marines with that. Tesla weave for it says Tesla weave. Each time an enemy operative finishes a charge action with an engagement range, roll 3d6, and each 5+, the enemy operative suffers a mortal wound. That'd be pretty good against maybe Arco-Flagellants. Arco-Flagellants still, for me, ruling the old game. You got a phase shift for Cryptech operatives only. It gains your following ability as a 4+ invulnerable save. Arc Shock Projector for immortals. Each time an operative makes a shooting attack with a Tesla carbine, for that shooting attack with purposes of a Splash X special rule, inflict mortal wounds on the target and each operative visible to and within 3 inch instead of 2. That's not particularly, the Tesla carbine and your Ghost Blaster are all going to be who you're fighting. It might be that with the Necron Force you do look at magnetising it. The Guard one, not so much, but maybe with a Tesla one you are going to be looking at sort of magnetising that. You've also got Devourer Nano Scarabs. Quite like that, the fact that it's a ranged weapon. It feels like a grenade. It is a grenade, really, technically, with the indirect, but you're just kind of like, yeah, I'll just throw some scarabs at you, throw some bugs. They're just going to eat you for a bit. Lethal 5+ as well, needing 3 and 4. So the strength of a bolter, nothing in that equipment's going to help your immortals, your death marks any better in the game of Kill Team. I do feel like that's going to be a little bit of a downside when playing the game. Apologies. I've had some toast for breakfast and it's just all crumbed up in my mouth. But yeah, the downside to this team is definitely going to be the death marks. I don't think the death marks are going to be any good, really, at shifting and trying to get an objective. You're going to be spending majority of your time trying to dash. And if you do move, you can't shoot. So I'm not quite sure about giving them an extra APL. It's not going to be worth it. Shadow Vaults has got this additional equipment, which of course I believe is going to be giving you some additions in the actual game. We've got security locker here, security panels, cameras. They're probably going to be some of the actual games themselves require you to do certain things. That's going to be quite cool to do. You've got a small pile of equipment. Hopefully that's going to be able to let you have another metal gun. Bomb terrain does not provide cover, nor do operatives need to climb over it. Simply move over it. It's just there for mission rules. Sentry turret does provide light and traversable traits. It's got operational and dormant. While it is dormant, it has no additional traits. While operational, it is the automatic fire trait. Unless it specifies, it begins the battle operational. And it even says in the firefight phase, at the end of activation, if this terrain feature has cooled down and there is a valid target for it to make a shooting attack against, it will do so against the closest valid target using its twin heavy bolter. A valid target is the closest operative within this terrain's line of sight. Wow. When determining line of sight to the terrain feature, treat it as an active operative and draw cover and visibility for any part of it. When selecting the closest valid target, if two operatives are equal, the player who does not have initiative selects which of these operatives is the target. When making a shooting attack with this terrain feature, the defender's opponent is the attacker. If the terrain feature begins the battle cooled down, each time after the terrain feature making a shooting attack, it must cool down. You roll 2d6, add the results together. The total result is the number of activations that must be completed until the terrain feature has cooled down. Right, oh, that's weird. That is weird. So total number of activations, sort of, during the game, I'm guessing. I'm guessing that is. That's going to be pretty cool. And then we've got these guys that are going to be able to... These are your robots. These are terrain features that are going to help in some of the actual missions. That is a haulage robot. This here is just a standard robot that's programmable. And I think you can start moving through walls with these guys, making shooting attacks against this terrain feature. Draw cover lines to every part of the miniature. It's defense characteristic of 3, save of 3+, and I think it's got a wounds characteristic of 15. So that's pretty hard to take down, but it's going to be pretty tough. You're going to be able to just use it to try and smash through terrain features, which is pretty nice. Now to the missions. We've got Shadow Operations Shadowvault's mission pack. This one is just giving you some nice little missions for the Into the Dark game. We've got a new thing called Infiltration. These rules create a prologue to the battle in which the attacker's kill team will attempt to infiltrate the kill zone and the defender will attempt to detect them. In the battle with the Infiltration mission rule, following changes take place. Now, I think there's a version of this already out there, but just for the standard kill teams, these are the ones for the special. These are the ones for the Into the Dark. I think it's going to be pretty much the same, but it's just going to add that extra layer of sneakiness before the actual game starts. I might start using my Gene Steel Occult in here. The missions themselves are quite straightforward. They're all part of a Spec Ops campaign with mission bonuses. They do tell you which one. A lot of these have got some additional rules. So there's going to be a programmable turret. This one seems quite nice, actually. It's quite static going forward. Again, just a lot of the passageways of death, programmable turret. You've got loot. In the case of these sort of like, I'm guessing that and that is going to be these little corridors, which is going to be, you're going to be able to loot your mission objectives as well. That's pretty cool. I'm liking the actual setups. That looks like a nightmare to assemble and possibly a nightmare to play games on, because that's just what it's like playing this. Again, loot and programmable robot. I'm not seeing a lot of infiltration that I can see, to be honest. Have we got any infiltration missions? Bomb run. mission bonus. I'm not seeing infiltrate. Not see. Oh, attack. Oh, that's a proper attacker defender. Oh, that one looks nice. That one looks like your hatchway battens. Oh, yes. That looks like it's going to be a pretty cool mission to do. That is probably one that you'll find yourself maybe running into campaigns-wise and just sticking into various different games when it's like you're boarding a ship or you're trying to raid a room in a building, that type of thing. I always go on about using these not just for spaceship combats, but for other situations like that in the games of Warhammer 40,000. It doesn't have. It's a terrain piece. You could pretend it's a wall with a door. Hold out. Somebody's trying to stop various attackers from coming in. I've not got. Has this got the hatchways bomb? I'm not seeing anything that's telling me to use infiltrate. Unless you're just supposed to use infiltrate on all these missions. I do not know. Oh, infiltration. There we go. Secure base. Rightio. Rightio. That's not so bad. We've actually got somewhere. Right. So all the free 3-point missions seem to have infiltrate. Yes. So anything that's 3.1, 3.2, 3.3. Programmable robots. You've got detection zones and fields. It's actually telling you a bit more of what you can and can't do, because I'm guessing there's going to be cameras here, there, and everywhere with that you'd have to try and avoid. It's also got some match play games for you to be able to play. When you play match play games, it doesn't actually put any of the terrain features down. I just recommend putting them down yourself, just trying to match it on either side, because everything's 2s. That way you get a really good game without a lot of people complaining that there's no terrain on there. Oh wow, 4 objectives running across the centre. Oh, 4 in the middle as well. Yeah, with these packs you are getting a hell of a lot of missions. I mean, this is 9, 3, 6, 9. So it's 18 missions in this pack. You've got 18 missions in the previous pack. 9 narrative, 9 non-narrative. Even the narrative ones you can just play as one-offs. They're really good to play just as one-offs. And mysterious signature. Oh, I thought I said mysterious creature. I thought you were going to be able to use some random gene stealers or something running around. Wow, you've got like nearly 6 objectives in there. You've got 6 objectives in that one. Jesus Christ. Yeah, I am enjoying these Kill Team games. It does. And of course, you've got your Kassakin and your Heretic Necron Circle to play in the games. And then you get this at the back. So, right, I think this is ingenious. So you've got your key as normal in your gallows. Nope. No. Where's your key gone? But you know what I mean. Nope. Come on. That's where fine. Where the hell is my key? Where's my key? All right, setting up terrain. There we go. What the? Well, you've still got your key in your previous game anyway. What I've done is put it here as a flip out. So that's your reference. So instead of having to have your book open, there you go. There's my supply raid mission. And there is my key of what I need to use. Defense turret D5. I mean, if you're on that. Of course, if you're on one of these missions here. There you go. 2 D4s, which is small equipment pile. Some D1s, which is weapons locker. All of this stuff here is pretty nice. Especially when you've got this key that flips out. That is a really good addition. That should have been in the first book. But as usual, I think Games Workshop purposely left out the first book to make you become wowed in the second. And that was Kill Team Shadowvault. And there we are. Hope you enjoyed that video there, guys. Please like, share, subscribe, and all the good stuff you can do to your favourite YouTubers. Anything you can do to help always helps. Everything like that helps, to be honest. If you want to watch the full video, you can do. That will show you all the plastics and all the layouts you can actually do for your models. It will also show, of course, this section right at the end. So if you wanted to go through that again, you can do. But thank you very much for watching, guys. Hope you enjoy your games of Into the Dark. Hope you guys have managed to get hold of Shadowvaults. And we'll see you next time.